Hey everybody, this is Josh Cook, aka Seizures Palace, and today we're about to do, well, a post song a week, you could say. The idea for today is that I'm going to summarize everything that I had sort of learned from doing this song a week experience. And keep in mind, mine was a bit unique. I did the whole compositional walkthrough aspect, so we'll talk a bit about that. Writing the songs, keeping things consistent, the benefits of it, the disadvantages of it, and that kind of idea. So let's get into it. See, this is normally where I would go through and squash the video down and move it over. We're not going to do that today. We're just going to get into it just like this. So the first thing I wanted to talk about are some things that I've learned. So one of the most beneficial aspects to doing this song a week is, I would say, mix consistency, as well as the idea of learning how to mix more appropriately for genres outside of your norm. So allow me to explain. The thing that I found I really got out of mixing was, and essentially by doing a lot of referencing along the way, is how to get loud levels to play in the loudness wars. And the good thing is, yes, the loudness wars are dying down, but if you can get your levels hot, you can make them dynamic. I mean, for the most part, as long as you understand a bit of music theory and production theory. So for me, I found that I was able to really scoop out a lot of the muddiness from my mixes. I was able to get my overall volume up, and those two things directly related to one another. I was able to work really well on my stereo imaging, as well as just my arrangement within my compositions as well. When I say mixing by genre, what I'm talking about is the idea of how is a bass mixed in orchestral music, like a double bass, or how is a double bass recorded and mixed in jazz or rock, or a sub bass in electronic music, or a sub bass in hip hop. And that just covers the bass or the sub bass. Now we talk upper bass and then chord instruments and the idea of melodic instruments or singing, and how is that affected in the mix and that kind of idea. So I was given a lot of tips from referencing more than anything, just from reverse engineering, listening to other songs as I was doing some of these other genres. So I found that really helped me along the way. So the other thing too is I find that at some point you get kind of bored with the norm. And I had someone reach out on the Dead Mouse Masterclass forum, and they're like, oh, I disagree with the way you're doing things. You should probably try mixing it. Or not mixing it up so much. You should probably try being more consistent and then become a master of one genre. Nah, screw that. Because if I want to be a master of drum and bass and get the most cliche drum and bass sound and do that for 52 weeks straight, sure, I'll be good at coming up with a cliche drum and bass sound. But what if I explore jazz for a few weeks, hip hop for a few weeks, drum and bass for a few weeks? I might start to find that I can create a hybrid genre that fuses those three things. And I want to mention that I think that there's some merit to what this person was saying. The idea of really honing your skills and get good at one genre. I'm not trying to float my own boat, but that's kind of what I was doing for years and years before this song a week. This came from, we'll say, like compositional, it's going to be tricky to say, compositional constipation, I guess you could say. So the idea of just all these extra ideas and tools that I wanted to use and stuff like that building up, but they might not have suited themselves as well in the genre that I usually create. So it was nice to be able to get out of my comfort zone, get so bored with doing the same tricks that I was sort of forced to think outside the box a little bit. The next thing that I found that was a big benefit outside of actually doing the process of the mixing, the mastering, composing, and then getting better with those techniques was adding to a portfolio and using that portfolio to your advantage. So what I'm talking about here is the idea of organizing things nicely, putting it on YouTube so it's very clear and concise, putting it on SoundCloud, putting each week on Reddit, on Facebook, on Twitter, all this kind of stuff. I got more followers on YouTube, only a few, but some. I got some more on SoundCloud. I got lots of tweetbacks and that kind of stuff and retweets. So for me, it was fantastic that way in terms of social media and just in terms of expanding that portfolio. What I want to do with that portfolio moving forward is go back through the 52 weeks, pick all my favorites, maybe even go through all of them, but probably just pick my favorites, because there was a couple weeks where I only had like 2 hours to do everything. And it was a really crazy week, so I would just throw together a song, and I shouldn't be telling you guys that, but I did what I had to do, and it was part of the process of staying consistent with this. So that being said, I'm going to go back and probably go through some of the highlighted tracks or my favorites, remix them a little bit better now that because like the ones in the first 26 weeks are probably not mixed as well as the next 26. So go back, mix them all to a standard that I'm happy with, and then put them up on licensing sites. There's tons out there. So, I mean, I'm not going to mention any one particular licensing site because I'm still trying to figure out which one I want to go with. I went with music dealers for a while. I know I'm going back against what I said. I'm talking about one, but I haven't got a bite yet. And I put up a lot of, I'd say, fairly good music. So I'm going to explore other options, talk to some other composers that do licensing, and see where I might be able to make some extra cash with the hard work that I put in during those 52 weeks. So another really cool thing about doing this project is that it set a certain standard for my weekly schedule and for my drive, perseverance, all those sort of things. And after the song a week was done, I'm still writing a song a week. In fact, I'm writing probably about 2 to 3 songs a week because I don't have to upload to YouTube. I don't have to repost and reconnect all the comments and the links and I'm done with that for a bit. I get to focus on the music and do all the regular commenting, hashtagging and stuff that I was used to in the past without getting too complicated between this idea of a walkthrough, a song, connecting it all that kind of stuff. So it's been really great in terms of setting a standard for myself. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I did Song a Week, is that I was writing about 2 songs a week already and maybe missing the odd week and going, what if I just filled in those odd weeks? And then instead of writing 2 songs most weeks, maybe just write 1 consistently every week. And so I was already pretty much at that point for a few years before I got started with this series. And a couple people might be wondering, like, why don't I continue with it? I don't think past a year is really going to show much more merit, and I'm ready to move on to the next project, which we'll get talking about shortly. So yeah, I think at the end of it all, it's about drive and establishing that drive through such a project. And if you're someone who's normally pretty lazy, do it. It's going, like, do the 52 weeks. It's going to improve your drive and your focus as a composer and a producer, I think. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about is what my goals and my projects are post Song a Week. And that would be really focusing on my electronic music under the name Seizures Palace. I just released my 2nd album and I'm already working on a 3rd. In fact, I have a whole 3rd album worth of songs that I'm just not even going to put out. Maybe I'll put out the odd one here and there as singles, but I want like the freshest songs, the most recent ideas, the best mixes, everything really current to be what represents Seizures Palace moving forward. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. I might have a hip-hop collaboration on the way. I'm not going to talk too much about it. A, I don't want to jinx it, and B, I'm not even really allowed to talk about it because this person is signed. It's a label under Sony too, so don't want to piss off Sony, that's for sure. I'm going to be doing some more orchestral music, and orchestral will find its way into my Seizures Palace stuff and my hip-hop as well. And then one big thing that I've been saving is I want to do a few solo piano pieces and get back into writing out music, like sheet music, and really focusing on getting back into more complex harmony, melody, counterpoint, structuring, this kind of idea, because as a lot of you know, within the electronic world, especially in dance music, we're oftentimes forced to appeal to the layperson, so to speak. And I did my master's in composition, dropped out of a PhD in composition. So that said, I'm a composer first and foremost, and I want to be able to use the tools that I learned in my undergrad and master's in terms of those more complex harmonic tricks, we'll call them, and that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to doing a lot of solo piano stuff. I've already put out 2 solo piano songs. I figure if I can get another 4 or 5, I might put out like a little mini like booklet of songs or something like that. And I'd like to pitch a couple that I think are appropriate to the Royal Conservatory of Music and see if they're interested in getting another Canadian composer on board to help add to their repertoire. So that's kind of all I really wanted to talk about today. The thoughts before I started Saw, during Saw, the benefits of it, and then the aftermath, so to speak. So I didn't talk too much about leading up to Saw, but again, just the idea of if you find yourself getting into a rhythm where you're writing a lot of music, do something with it that isn't just writing a lot of music. Take yourself out of your comfort zone. It was not easy for me to figure out how to install OBS, which is the screen capturing software that I'm using right now, and to use Soundflower to be able to have no latency on the microphone, but still capture the audio out of Ableton. And the idea of how do you get the best clarity? Like, this is pretty good video quality. It's nothing too fantastic, but the webcam that I'm borrowing from my buddy here, I've maxed out what I can do with that and my CPU limitations as well too. So learning some new stuff along the way that way, set up everything so I was much more ready to go throughout that song a week. And I'm now ready to do, this is something I should have mentioned. tutorial videos. I'm going to be doing a bunch of tutorial videos moving forward. I have it as a playlist in my YouTube channel right now, but there's only like one or two. I'm structuring out a mega list of tutorial videos, most of which are kind of very like taking production from the beginning stages to the later stages. It's been done. It's been done a million times. But if you like the way I talk and the way that I do videos, you'll have me to be able to help as another source for that. And I'm really looking forward, more than anything, to finding videos that aren't on YouTube and explaining certain audio tricks that people might not be able to find elsewhere. And I think at the end of the day, that's something that everyone should aspire to, which is just to find a niche and fill that niche and offer something new, especially in terms of, in my opinion, education, and also in terms of the sound that you offer as a producer. So that's everything that I wanted to talk about for today. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, put them down in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, stay posted for more videos. They're going to be coming out. I'm hoping by next month I'll have 1 or 2 tutorial videos out, and keep following my SoundCloud, which is Seizures Palace. So soundcloud.com/Seizures Palace. And you're going to see a lot more singles coming out over the next year. So I look forward to all that. I hope you do as well. I am out. Take it easy. I'll see you around. Peace.